So when Kyle's fixated on a player and what
Mhm.
he can do with that player,
Yeah.
he loses sight of everything else.
Yeah.
I hate to keep banging the table on this, but Jalen Hurd and Terry McLaurin were both at the Senior Bowl.
Yeah. Yes, that's
I
right.
am I am so locked in on Jalen Hurd and what I think he can do. Handing the ball off, playing fullback, playing tight end. You missed probably one of the best wide receivers in football that was there.
Now, if I remember correctly, McLaurin was on Gruden's team.
Mhm.
So now, still, like you didn't coach him, but like he's
You
in the
see them.
building. You
You see them.
see him, man. You played again. Come on.
You see him. You've watched them. You
Yeah.
guys, your scouts did not know. It's not like they were unaware of Terry McLaurin.
You saw Debo. You saw Jalen Hurd. You
Right.
totally missed Terry McLaurin because
Terry
you're focused on
McLaurin's
these two
there
guys. Yeah.
because you're focused on these gadget things that you can do with Jalen Hurd. But there was a
Yeah.
wide receiver
Yeah. Like
to who
Brandon Ayuk before Brandon Ayuk, faster Brandon Ayuk was there, essentially.
a guy who runs routes, is tough,
Yeah.
tough at the catch point, does it all. That's not good enough because I want to hand the ball off to Jalen Hurd from the X position
I want
and
a
when
tight
everyone
end
just
slash fullback slash wide receiver
that's one of them.
slash.
You and I talked a little bit before about how when someone plays well against Kyle, oh man, I'm in. Like I love that guy. He's great because he beat up on my
Made an
team.
impression on me.
Malcolm Smith, Quan Alexander,
Quan
right? Like
Alexander.
guys, Quan
Yeah.
Alexander, right? Like guys that have played against him. All right. I'm gonna drop a little nugget here. Everybody's gonna say, whatever, Jay, you don't know anything. Cool, whatever, fine. Don't believe me. But I'm gonna tell you. Spoke to a former player today, not someone on your team. So if you're screaming 49ers don't leak, former 49ers do leak. In 2020, the 49ers, and the game in 2020 that I'm referring to is obviously the Super Bowl. In 2020, the 49ers played three teams that have three players from each of those teams that were signed on day one by the San Francisco 49ers of the legal tampering period, each of them. The 2020 game in the Super Bowl, this person told me that the large discussion wasn't the game plan, but the large discussion was about a player on the Chiefs named Travis Ward.
Mooney.
The Jets, the game plan was about Samuel Darnold.
Yeah. The
The
greatest thrower.
Philadelphia Eagles,
Yeah.
the player's name was Javon Hargrave.
Javon Hargrave.
All three of them signed as soon as it was legally tampering possible in the NFL.
Yeah.
When Kyle Shanahan gets it in, and look, let's be clear. Mooney's a baller, and so is Javon. So
Yeah.
I'm not mad at you for having tunnel vision on guys that are very good players.
Right.
But Sam Darnold? The discussion around Sam Darnold in this game plan was he wouldn't stop talking about him.
Yeah.
And if you listen to the press conference that was just happening, the last four questions were about Sam Darnold. And this man gave paragraph answers. I know because I had to transcribe it and write it. I had to write about what he said about Sam Darnold. It took me forever. So
wow.
What are we saying? It's the tunnel vision thing. Now, look, 2 out of 3 of those guys are very good. So it's good. Like, you got tunnel vision on those guys. But this Sam Darnold thing has gone way further than them just saying, hey, let's just take a chance on a guy that's available. No, first day, you went out there and you made sure to get that done. Everything that this person
like no
told
one
you
else
tracked.
could have Sam Darnold. You had to have him.
Nope.
Yeah.
And when Sam Darnold was asked in the press conference, did you get any other offers? I'm not ready to talk about that. He completely dodged the question.
Right.
Everything that this person told me
The
tracks.
Niners scooped him up before there was an opportunity. Was there going to be a bidding war on Sam Darnold? Because there were so many teams interested in Sam Darnold's services.
Everything this person told me tracks. Everything. All of it. Because all three of those players that he mentioned, all three of those players, and all three of those players were signed as soon as it was physically, humanly possible.
Did this former player happen to mention to you what it was about Darnold that Kyle was so freaking impressed with?
He said he would not stop praising him and attributed it to a man crush. Literally. And that's what it felt like. Players can feel that, right? You're going out of your way to praise someone that's on the other side. And you're almost praising him more than you've given praise to people in that same room that are on your side.
Right, like you won't praise Jimmy Garoppolo like that, right?
I understand praising Patrick Mahomes.
Sure.
I understand praising Josh Allen. I understand praising Joe Burrow. But Sam Darnold is the one that you're just like, you cannot stop talking about. Even the people in that locker room are looking at you like, all right, dude, enough. We get it. You like him, but we'll be fine. And the 49ers
we're going to smoke him, and he sucks, but okay. Yeah.
The players in that room are like, he's not that good. We're going to blow them out.
Yeah.
But you won't stop talking about it.
Yeah.
It's just everything that was said tracked. Because you take information in and you say, okay, well, what? And then you think about it and you're like, wait a minute. All of these guys were signed immediately. Now let's take it a step further, Grant. Malcolm Smith, Quan Alexander, Jerick McKinnon, all signed immediately as soon as humanly possible. Tunnel vision.
What gets me about Kyle is like he makes up his mind based on God knows what. Maybe one game, an impression, a first impression, a face-to-face impression, and then that's it. Like he had his mind made up in week 2 of 2020 that Sam Darnold was the truth. A lot has changed since then. That's 3 years ago. This guy's he's been a backup, a third-string quarterback. Like, despite all the new evidence, your feelings haven't changed at all. And that's the same thing with Quan. Like, you like Quan Alexander. He tore his ACL. And you still paid him like he didn't because you saw him play well one time in front of you. That's a problem. And like, why did they draft Ty Davis Price? He had that one good game against Florida. Why did they draft Trey Sermon? He had that one good game against Northwestern. Like, that's Kyle every single. Why did they draft Joe Williams? He had that one good game against UCLA.
Well, I do want to ask you this. And, you can push back on this because I'm genuinely asking you a question. When the 49ers hit on a running back later on, it's generally believed, Bobby Turner, he's cooking, right? Were those Kyle picks or were they Bobby Turner picks, though?
Got me. Right. I don't know. None of us know for sure.
No, I guess it was rhetorical, like the question. I just.
But the reason I would assume Kyle picks earlier is I feel like he loses interest after like the 3rd round, and he's like, all right, I don't care anymore. I don't know these players. But I don't know.
I really hope that's not true. Like, I don't want to hear that head coach. I don't want to hear
because those 3rd round picks feel like Kyle picks, like Jake Moody, Cam Latu. Oh my God, those feel like Kyle picks. Maybe I'm wrong.
Maybe, but I just don't want. I don't want to hear that my coach just tunes out the draft from like the because if he does. Then who are we giving credit to for all the gems in the 4th and 5th and 6th and 7th round?
The front office, the people who are paid to do the freaking job. I just can see Kyle like waltzing in and be like, okay, these are really important picks. I'm going to make these. I'm like, all right, guys, you can do the rest. Like, okay, we can do our job now? We can do it? Okay, great, thanks. We'll do our job.
Yeah. I think the overarching point here is Kyle just has it in his mind that these are his guys. And again, the 3 players that I named, 2 of them are studs. Mooney Ward's a stud. Javon Hargrave's a stud. You got that absolutely right. The Sam Darnold thing leads me to you were fixated on CJ Beathard. You're fixated on Kirk Cousins. You're not fixated on Watson or Mahomes.
Which offensive guy that he was fixated on, Weston Richburg, worked out?
McCaffrey? Debo.
Okay.
Debo.
Sure. I'm talking like NFL players where he's like, I coached against you and I had to have you.
Free agents.
Like, I guess McCaffrey. They played against McCaffrey. They saw him face to face. He was on the team 2 weeks later. That's one. No. I'll give you Hargrave. I'll give you Ward. But in terms of offense, he's had a lot of these guys who like he knows he can make great players in his offense. Is like no.
Ray McLeod.
Not yet.
I'm just I
actually think there's more meat on the bone there with Ray. He should get more touches.
Hell yeah.
Yep.
Hell yeah.
But not yet. And Juszczyk too, man. Like that guy is underutilized on this freaking team.
All right, so that's one.
Yeah,
but they're still not using him to. I feel the same way because anybody who's ever watched camp, OTAs, anything like that, when he goes 1-on-1 against anybody, he smokes them.
He's really good.
And that doesn't matter who you put, like Fred, anybody who you want to put on Kyle. Kyle smokes them, and he makes catches. Okay, throw him the ball if he's going to be on the ball.
Let him run routes other than leak. You know what I mean? Let him run actual choice routes and Texas routes, but they don't. I'll never understand that. You pay him all the money. He can do so much more than.
Don't say Texas route. He gets infuriated.
Who?
Rich Madrid. It's not.
My bad. Sorry.
It's not a playbook, man. It's a choice route. But to your point about leak, we got to have quarterbacks who can hit those, right? Because we still have.
Is Texas the concept?
Texas is just an angle route. Choice is basically an option.
That's why I said and. I was trying to include them both.
Well, what he says all the time is
Rich doesn't watch my shit anyway. It's all good.
Yeah, he doesn't watch tape anyway. Who cares? He's like, there's no Texas route in Shanahan's offense, man. He always yells at us when we say that.
He doesn't.
Always tell him what's up.
That's probably true. I haven't seen them run that. I like
no. Everything, because you can tell when they run the choice route, you can watch the receiver stack his hips like and like try to show one way and he breaks based on leverage. Like you can tell that. You can tell. Yeah.
Well,
but it's still funny. It's still
glad
funny
we got to the bottom of that one.